Many believe that hitting 10,000 steps a day is the ultimate goal for long-term health. But if you have existing knee pain, taking those steps on flat pavement accelerates the breakdown of your cartilage. Each step lands on the same worn spot, repeatedly grinding the joint at the exact same angle. Human feet evolved to navigate rocks, roots, and unpredictable slopes. Modern sidewalks create a mechanically uniform environment that restricts our movement to a single repetitive arc, depriving the body of the varied forces it was designed to handle. A 10-minute backward walking protocol interrupts this pattern. By reversing your direction of travel, you immediately shift pressure away from worn cartilage and engage neural pathways that forward walking leaves dormant. This reversed movement stops the repetitive load on damaged tissue and forces the brain to actively manage each step, breaking the cycle of automatic, damaging movement. To understand why this works, we have to look at the cerebellum. This region of the brain governs balance, coordination, and postural control, and it contains approximately half of all the neurons in the human brain. It operates like a supercomputer, and it requires complex problems to stay sharp. When you walk on flat, predictable surfaces, this supercomputer has almost nothing to do. The movement is so routine that the cerebellum sits idle. Over time, underused brain tissue begins to shrink. This manifests directly as declining balance, reduced coordination, and an increased risk of falls as we age. Reversing your walking direction instantly demands complex spatial recalibration. There is no autopilot for walking backwards. Brain imaging shows that this specific movement forces the cerebellum to engage fully, and with consistent practice, this high-level stimulation encourages the tissue to thicken and rebuild. This diagram shows the mechanical cross-section of a knee joint during this process. The moment you walk backwards, the load distribution shifts dramatically. The chronically overloaded spots on the front of the cartilage are relieved, while previously unused areas begin taking on the work. The relief to the joint is significant. Research shows that knee joint pressure drops by an immediate 40% the exact second backward movement begins. So, with a single continuous motion, backward walking solves the neurological problem of brain atrophy, while simultaneously addressing the mechanical problem of joint overload. Before you start, check your footwear. Thick, elevated running shoes alter your center of gravity and block sensory feedback from your feet to your brain. Wear flat-soled shoes with minimal heel elevation. Phase 1 requires the right environment. Find a safe, completely flat patch of grass or soft ground for your first session. This is an important safety warning. No one should attempt hills or slopes until flat ground backward walking feels entirely stable and natural. For this initial phase, begin walking backwards in a straight line or a large circle. Keep your steps short and controlled. Focus entirely on balance. Speed is completely irrelevant here. Aim for just 5 to 10 minutes per session. Even on flat ground, this backward motion activates a neurological reflex that passively increases your hamstring flexibility by 13%. Remain strictly in phase 1 for 1 to 3 weeks. Give your body the time it needs to adapt. Mastering phase 1 establishes the critical foundation of balance and muscle activation you need before adding the complexity of varied terrain. Once you are stable on flat ground, phase 2 introduces a mild, uneven grassy slope. Moving backwards up an incline forces your glutes and hamstrings to fire significantly harder than they do on a flat surface. As you move up the slope, keep your gaze fixed forward, which means looking toward the downhill direction. Rely on your peripheral vision and body awareness to navigate. You only need a gentle incline for this to work. Steep hills increase your risk of falling without offering additional mechanical benefits to the joints. Keep the angle mild. Phase 3 is an ongoing lifestyle integration. This involves walking forward on natural, uneven terrain, like dirt trails or gentle woodland paths. Because the ground is uneven, every step demands continuous mechanical micro-adjustments from your ankles and hips. This constantly shifts the load, preventing repetitive impact stress on any single point in the joint. Adding varied terrain to your routine mimics human evolutionary mechanics. You transform a mindless exercise into an active biological challenge. This 3-phase protocol reactivates dormant posterior muscles, protects your knee cartilage, and builds structural resilience. Ditching flat pavement keeps the balance centers of your brain sharp and responsive to unpredictable environments. Here is your starting point. Find a patch of flat grass, put on flat-soled shoes, and try just 5 minutes of Phase 1 today. Building structural and neurological resilience requires reintroducing variation and novelty into your daily movement.